The regal science vessel Horizon drifted alongside the massive human battleship. Chief Science Officer Hanu could barely contain his excitement as he adjusted his optical enhancers, focusing on the enormous hull that dwarfed their own ship. Initial scans complete. Director Tejo, Hanu reported, his voice trembling slightly with anticipation. The vessel appears abandoned, but power systems remain functional. Minimal radiation leakage. Life support systems operating at 23% capacity. Director Tejo stroked his facial tendrils thoughtfully, all four of them rippling in the distinctive pattern that indicated deep consideration. The discovery was unprecedented. No intact human military vessel had ever been found in this sector of space. Classification, he asked, six eyes blinking methodically as he studied the preliminary data on his console. Junior researcher Mina stepped forward, her pale blue skin contrasting with the darker hues of her colleagues. Human battleship, designation HSS*, Indomitable*, she replied, scrolling through her findings. Approximately 150 Earth years old according to material degradation patterns. Weapon systems dormant but intact. Tejo's skin changed color slightly, shifting to a deeper shade of blue. Interesting. Any signs of battle damage? None detected, replied Hanu. It appears to have been deliberately left here. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Humans were notorious for their territorial nature. They did not simply abandon functional military assets. Tejo made his decision. Prepare boarding teams. Standard xenotech protocols. Full containment suits. No unnecessary risks. 3 hours later, the science team crossed through the airlock, their environmental suits glowing softly in the dim emergency lighting of the human vessel. Hanu led the way, with Mina and Tejo following closely behind. 4 security officers formed a protective formation around them. The corridors were immaculate despite decades of abandonment. No dust, no signs of deterioration, almost as if the ship had been preserved. Atmospheric composition is standard human mix, reported Mina, studying her scanner. Temperature maintained at human comfort levels. Why maintain life support on an abandoned vessel? Asked Security Officer Dury, his hand never straying far from his weapon. No one had an answer. They progressed deeper into the ship. The corridors were wide enough for 3 of them to walk side by side comfortably. The walls featured patterns that Hanu recognized as human artistic elements, not merely functional but designed to please the eye. Director called Hanu from a side chamber he had been examining. You should see this. The team gathered around the entrance. The room held rows of small metal plates with human script, images, and dates. Each plate contained a different face. Humans of various appearances, ages, and skin tones. Some kind of identification system, suggested Mina, scanning one of the plates. Hanu ran his more sophisticated scanner over the wall. The data made his tendrils stiffen. No. Memorial markers. Each represents a deceased crew member. How many? Asked Tejo. 217 in this room alone, replied Hanu. And there appear to be similar rooms throughout this deck. Tejo's mantle darkened with concern. Continue scanning, but touch nothing. Something about this vessel feels ceremonial. The team moved on, documenting everything they encountered. They found dining facilities that could seat hundreds, recreational areas with equipment still in working condition, and sleeping quarters that looked as if their occupants had just stepped out. The humans value community, observed Mina as they examined a large gathering space with comfortable seating arranged in circles. These areas promote social bonding. Inefficient design for a warship, commented Dury. Our vessels maximize space for weapons and tactical systems. Hanu shook his head. Different philosophy. Humans spend years on their vessels. These spaces serve psychological functions. They continue their exploration, eventually reaching what appeared to be the command center. Unlike the stark, functional command rooms of regal vessels, this bridge featured comfortable seating, personalized stations, and even decorative elements. "The captain's chair," said Taijo, approaching a central elevated seat that faced a massive viewing screen. Symbol of authority. Mina discovered a small console near what they determined was the captain's position. "Director, I believe this is some kind of recording device. Can you access it?" Mina worked the unfamiliar controls carefully. "Yes, I think." A holographic image suddenly appeared above the console, a human female wearing an ornate uniform with multiple insignia. Her face showed signs of age, with lines around the eyes and gray in her hair. "Captain's log, final entry. The recording began. The Indomitable Asterisk has completed her final mission. As per tradition, she will remain here as a monument to those who served and fell in her defense. May those who find her learn our history and understand our resolve." The team watched in silence as the recording continued, detailing the ship's final voyage and the decision to preserve it as a memorial. As Mina deactivated the playback, none of them noticed the subtle activation of dormant systems throughout the ship. Hidden sensors tracked their movements. Passive defense protocols silently cataloged their presence. Deep within the ship's core, an automated transmission was prepared and sent through channels unused for over a century. "We should return to the Horizon and report our findings," said Taijo finally. "This discovery changes everything we thought we knew about human expansion in this sector." As they made their way back toward the airlock, Mina paused at one of the memorial walls. "They cared deeply for their dead," she observed. "Each name preserved, each face remembered." "Sentiment," said Duri dismissively. "Impractical in warfare." Hanu wasn't so sure, or perhaps the source of their determination. The humans fought like no other species when protecting their own. What none of them realized, as they returned to their vessel with their scans and recordings, was that they had triggered something ancient but still vigilant. The Indomitable Asterisk might have been a memorial, but it was not defenseless, and it was no longer alone. Across vast distances, its signal was received. The humans were coming to reclaim their own. The Grand Council chamber buzzed with excitement. It had been 7 days since the discovery of the human battleship, and today they would hear the preliminary findings. The circular room with its high ceiling and ancient stone columns had never seen such a gathering. All 12 high counselors were present, along with military leaders and top scientists. Military analyst Doko stood at the center of the chamber, his tall frame rigid with the importance of his role. Behind him, holographic displays showed detailed schematics of the human vessel. "The human vessel contains weapon systems far beyond practical necessity," Doko reported, his voice carrying easily through the chamber. "Their yield-to-mass ratio exceeds our most advanced prototypes by factors of 10. He gestured to a rotating model of what appeared to be a missile launcher. "This single weapon could destroy a vessel 3 times the size of our largest cruiser, and they had 24 such launchers on a mid-sized battleship." Murmurs rippled through the assembled leaders. High Counselor Suma, the eldest and most respected of the council, leaned forward on her hover platform. Her age made standing difficult, but her mind remained sharp. "Your assessment of human tactical doctrine?" she asked, her voice quiet but commanding immediate silence. Doko smiled, clearly pleased with his conclusions. "Inefficient and contradictory," he replied confidently. "They dedicate excessive resources to crew comfort and safety. Every critical system has multiple redundancies, sometimes 3 or 4 backups." He displayed images of crew quarters, which looked more like living spaces than military accommodations. "They waste valuable space on personal comforts. Their engine room could operate with half the safety systems they installed." Defense Minister Kwan nodded approvingly. He had always advocated for streamlined military vessels without unnecessary amenities. "Continue," urged Councillor Shumi. Cultural specialist Bora stepped forward next. Unlike Doko's military rigidity, she moved with the fluid grace typical of cultural researchers. Her projected findings appeared as a series of interior images from the human ship. The ship contains numerous communal spaces dedicated to non-essential activities, Bora explained. dining halls large enough for the entire crew to eat together, exercise facilities, even areas dedicated solely to relaxation and social interaction. She showed footage of what appeared to be a garden chamber aboard the vessel. They brought living plants into space, requiring water and light resources that could have been allocated elsewhere. Most intriguing is their command structure, she continued. Their military hierarchy appears integrated with strong social bonds. Captains dine with their crews. Officers and enlisted personnel share recreational spaces. This suggests a value system where group cohesion is prioritized over strict authority. Weakness, declared Defense Minister Kwan, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. Sentiment clouds tactical judgment. No wonder they abandoned such a valuable vessel. Their emotional attachment to comfort likely makes them hesitant in battle. Several council members nodded in agreement. This aligned with their existing understanding of humans as emotionally driven and therefore predictable. From the side of the chamber, a small figure hesitantly raised her hand. Junior researcher Minna had never spoken in such an august gathering before, but Director Tejo had insisted she attend to share her specific discovery. Counselor Sumin noticed the gesture. "You have something to add, young one." Minna stepped forward, trying to keep her voice steady. "Ministers, we discovered something unusual in a sealed chamber. A wall displaying thousands of names, far more than this vessel's crew complement." "Explain," demanded Counselor Suma, her 6 eyes focusing intently on Mina. "We believe the indomitable asterisk wasn't merely abandoned," Minna said. "Evidence suggests it was preserved deliberately as some form of monument." She projected her own findings, showing the memorial wall they had discovered. These names date back hundreds of years. They appear to be crews who served on vessels with the same name, going back many generations. This specific ship appears to be the 7th vessel named Indomitable in human naval history, she continued. Each name on this wall represents someone who died while serving on one of these ships. Defense Minister Kwan dismissed this with a wave of his hand. "Irrelevant. The technological insights alone will advance our military standing significantly. Sentimentality about dead crew members has no tactical value." "There's one more thing," Minna added, her voice gaining confidence. "According to decrypted data from the ship's logs, the Indomitable was considered obsolete when decommissioned, a training vessel for human cadets." The chamber fell completely silent. "Impossible," said Doko finally. "The weapons systems alone were outdated by human standards," interrupted Mina. "The final log entry mentioned newer classes of vessels with capabilities far beyond this ship. The Indomitable was preserved as both a memorial and a training tool." Counselor Suma's hover platform drifted closer to the center of the room. "If what this young researcher says is true, we must reconsider our understanding of human military capacity. Or she has misinterpreted the data," countered Minister Kwan. "Humans are known for exaggeration." Before they could debate further, an aide rushed into the chamber, a serious breach of protocol that caused immediate concern. "Forgive the intrusion," he said, bowing deeply. "We have detected a transmission from the human vessel." "Impossible," said Doko. "All communication systems were dormant." "Nevertheless," continued the aide, "a signal was sent approximately 6 hours ago. We only detected it because we were specifically monitoring for unusual energy signatures." "To whom was this transmission sent?" asked Counselor Suma, her voice betraying rare concern. "Unknown, Counselor, but it was directed toward human-controlled space." As the implications sank in, Minna remembered something from the captain's log they had viewed. Something about the ship remaining as a monument, but not being unprotected. She had dismissed it as figurative language. Now she wondered if they had triggered something by boarding the vessel, something that had been waiting, dormant but vigilant, for decades. "The study must continue," declared Minister Kwan. "Double the research teams. Extract everything of value before any response can arrive." As the council discussed their next steps, Minna couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something fundamental about the humans and their seemingly sentimental attachment to this obsolete warship. The research station hummed with activity. Teams of scientists worked around the clock to extract data from the human battleship. Director Tejo stood on the observation deck, watching as small transport vessels ferried researchers to and from the Indomitable Asterisk. The ship's dark hull contrasted sharply with the gleaming white of regal technology. Director Tejo, priority transmission from Central Command, announced Communications Officer Juan. Her voice carried a slight tremor that made Tejo turn from the viewport. Nature of the transmission? He asked. Juwan's facial tendrils curled in tension. Human diplomatic vessel requesting contact. They appeared at the outer marker 10 minutes ago. The room fell silent. Humans had never ventured this far into this sector before. Tejo straightened his formal mantle, smoothing the official emblems that marked his rank. On screen, the large display at the front of the command center flickered, then revealed the image of a human. The being was tall by their standards, with dark skin and short gray hair. The uniform bore multiple colored ribbons and metal pins that Tejo recognized as military decorations. The human's face showed lines of age and an expression that even across species barriers registered as severe. "This is Ambassador Lee of the Human Confederation," the human stated without preamble. "We formally request the immediate return of the HFY Indomitable Asterisk to human space." Tejo felt a ripple of surprise, but maintained his professional composure. "Ambassador, I am Director Tejo of the Science Directorate. We welcome this opportunity for contact. Regarding the vessel in question, it was abandoned in neutral territory." He gestured to a data screen beside him. "Under Galactic Salvage Conventions, Section 4, Paragraph. The Indomitable Asterisk is not salvage," interrupted Lee, his voice calm but firm. "It is a sacred memorial to one of our greatest battles. Its location was never arbitrary." Tejo blinked in confusion. "I don't understand. The ship has been drifting for decades." "Not drifting. Standing watch." The human's eyes narrowed slightly. "The Indomitable Asterisk marks the furthest incursion of the Scaran forces during the colony wars. It remains there as both monument and marker of a boundary." This was unexpected information. The Scarans were known to the Regals only through ancient records. "Ambassador, this is valuable historical context," Tejo replied diplomatically. "However, the scientific knowledge we can gain from studying this vessel is not yours to take." Lee finished. "The Indomitable Asterisk contains the records of those who gave their lives in defense of others. We do not permit it to be dissected." Tejo felt the weight of the Council's instructions pressing upon him. He had been ordered to deny any human claims to the vessel. "Ambassador, while we respect your cultural attachments, we must insist on our salvage rights. Perhaps we can negotiate terms for sharing the technological data after our study concludes." The human's expression didn't change, but something in his posture shifted. "I see. I will relay your position to my government. We will contact you again shortly." The transmission ended abruptly. "That went better than expected," remarked Juwan. "They're backing down." "Don't be so sure," replied Tejo. 3 hours later, as Tejo reviewed the day's research findings in his office, a soft chime announced a visitor. Junior researcher Minna entered, carrying a data pad. "Director, may I speak with you privately?" she asked. Tejo gestured to the seat across from him. "Of course. I've been analyzing the ship's battle records," Minna began, her voice low despite their privacy. "The Indomitable Asterisk survived an engagement where it was outnumbered 20-1. It held position while civilian transports escaped." She placed the data pad on his desk, displaying tactical simulations recreated from the ship's logs. The images showed the Indomitable Asterisk positioned between a massive enemy fleet and a small cluster of unarmed vessels. "The battle lasted 6 hours," continued Mena. "By the end, the Indomitable Asterisk had lost 80% of its crew, but every civilian ship escaped." Tejo studied the simulation with growing concern. Your point, researcher. Minna leaned forward. The ship wasn't abandoned, sir. It was preserved as a memorial after its final battle. The surviving crew repaired what they could, then established automated systems to maintain it. The original crew chose to remain behind during the battle, knowing they wouldn't survive. This changes nothing, said Taijo, though uncertainty crept into his voice. The Council has determined the scientific value outweighs these historical considerations. Sir, there's more. Minna's tendrils twisted in agitation. The final log entry from the captain indicated the ship was placed there specifically as a warning. A warning about what? That's just it. The message was incomplete, but based on context, I believe it was a warning about humans themselves, about what they're capable of when protecting their own. Taijo dismissed Minna with assurances he would consider her information. That evening, as he prepared his daily report to the Council, a formal diplomatic package arrived from the Human Confederation. Unlike the verbal exchange earlier, this was an official document, bearing elaborate seals and signatures. Its message was simple: the indomitable asterisk belongs to our honored dead. Return it within 7 cycles. Taijo immediately forwarded the message to the High Council. Their response came within the hour. Continue research. Human sentiment is not our concern. Later that night, unable to sleep, Taijo returned to the observation deck. The indomitable asterisk hung in space before him, dark and silent. For the first time, he saw it not as an abandoned relic, but as something else, a gravestone, perhaps, or a boundary marker, or a warning. He recalled the simulation Minna had shown him. 1 ship against 20, fighting not to win but simply to buy time. What kind of species would commemorate such a sacrifice? And how would they respond to those who disturbed their memorial? Ambassador Lee mentioned the Scarans. He murmured to himself. What happened to them? He accessed the historical database from a nearby terminal. The entry was brief. Scaran Empire, former dominant power in sectors 7 to 12. Current status: extinct. Cause: war with Human Confederation, circa 2300 CE. Taijo stared at the screen, then back at the indomitable asterisk. 7 cycles suddenly seemed very little time indeed. The 7th cycle arrived with a sense of unease throughout the research station. Director Taijo had barely slept, his dreams filled with images from the battle recordings they had extracted from the indomitable asterisk. Despite his private concerns, the Council's orders remained clear. Continue the research, ignore the human warnings. The morning briefing had just concluded when alarm tones sounded throughout the command center. Contact at outer marker, announced Tactical Officer Hyun, his fingers moving rapidly over his console. Single vessel, human configuration. Taijo felt his heartbeat quicken. Same as before. Matching profile to the diplomatic vessel from last week, confirmed Hyun. They're approaching slowly, no weapons active. They're hailing us, reported Communications Officer Juwon, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. Director Taijo moved to respond, but a new voice interrupted. I will take this communication. The command center staff turned in surprise. High Counselor Shuma herself had entered, accompanied by 2 aides. Her hover platform glided smoothly to the central position. It was unprecedented for a High Counselor to visit a research outpost personally. Counselor, Taijo bowed deeply. We did not expect. The Council felt this matter required direct oversight, she replied. Open the channel. The main screen activated, and the same stern-faced human ambassador appeared. His expression seemed even more severe than before. This is your final opportunity to return the indomitable asterisk to human custody, he stated without greeting. High Counselor Sumi raised herself slightly on her platform, her ceremonial robes catching the light. I am High Counselor Sumi of the Regal Confederation. The human vessel is being studied under scientific protocols. We recognize no claim to abandon technology in neutral space. Very well, replied Ambassador Lee, his expression grim. You were warned. The screen went dark. That's it. asked one of Sumi's aides. They simply accept our decision. Continue monitoring, ordered Taijo, unable to shake his sense of dread. For 13 minutes, nothing happened. The human diplomatic vessel remained in position, silent. No weapons were activated. No additional communications were attempted. Perhaps they are waiting for instructions from their government, suggested Counselor Suma. Prepare a full report on our findings so far. We will show them the scientific importance of. She never finished her sentence. Space itself seemed to tear open as massive hyperspace ruptures formed around the station. The sensors screamed with alerts. Reality distorted as enormous voids appeared, rippling with energy that made the visual monitors automatically dim to protect the observers. From each rupture emerged a human battleship, each one dwarfing the indomitable in scale and obvious capability. Their hulls were midnight black, absorbing rather than reflecting light. Their shapes suggested predatory creatures rather than constructed vessels. 37 vessels detected, cried Tactical Officer Hyun, his professional composure cracking. Weapons signatures unlike anything in our database. The ships moved with impossible precision, forming a perfect sphere around the research station and the indomitable asterisk. Their positioning left no avenue of escape for even the smallest shuttle. How did they arrive so quickly? Whispered Counselor Suma. Their nearest base is 15 light-years distant. They were waiting, realized Taijo, watching to see what we would do. The main screen activated again without any incoming transmission request. The human ambassador appeared, now standing on what was clearly a military vessel's command center. You study our memorial ship, but fail to understand what it represents, he said, his voice carrying a weight that hadn't been present before. The indomitable and ships, like her, taught us the cost of being unprepared. We don't make that mistake anymore. Behind him, Taijo could see humans operating with calm efficiency at their stations. There was no panic, no urgency, just the smooth coordination of a team that had performed this maneuver many times before. Defense Minister Kwon pushed forward. Activate defense grid. All weapons target the diplomatic vessel. Minister, wait, began Taijo, but it was too late. The station's automated defense systems responded to the command. Energy beams lanced out toward the lead human vessel and dissipated harmlessly against invisible barriers. There was no visible shield effect, no energy discharge. The weapons simply ceased to exist before reaching their target. All stations report weapon systems ineffective, Hyun announced, voice trembling as he read the incoming reports. They're not even raising shields. Our weapons are being negated somehow. On the screen, Ambassador Lee didn't even acknowledge the attack attempt. Your station and all personnel will remain unharmed if you comply immediately. The indomitable will be returned to our custody. All research data pertaining to the vessel will be transferred to us. No copies will be retained. This is outrageous, shouted Defense Minister Kwon. We will not be dictated to by. A blinding light filled the command center as one of the human vessels fired a single weapon. The beam struck an uninhabited moon orbiting the nearby gas giant. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the moon simply disappeared. No explosion, no debris field. It was as if it had never existed. Silence fell across the command center. That moon was 17 times the size of this station, whispered Hyun. They just erased it. On the screen, Ambassador Lee continued as if nothing unusual had occurred. We value knowledge and scientific progress. We understand your desire to learn. But some knowledge comes at a price you cannot afford to pay. His eyes seemed to find Taijo specifically. You found our memorial, Director. You accessed its records. You know what the indomitable and her crew did. They stood against overwhelming odds to protect those who could not protect themselves. He gestured to the ships surrounding the station. We honor their sacrifice by ensuring we never need such sacrifices again. You have 1 hour to comply with our terms. The screen went dark again. High Counselor Suma's hover platform descended slightly, a physical manifestation of her deflating authority. How could we have miscalculated so severely? Tajo thought of the memorials aboard the Indomitable Asterisk, of the battle recordings showing a single ship standing against 20, of junior researcher Mina's warnings. We thought their sentimentality was weakness, he said quietly. We were wrong. It is the source of their strength. Tactical Officer Hyun looked up from his console, his face pale. Sir, new readings from the human vessels. They're powering up something. All of them. Simultaneously. On the main viewport, Tajo watched as 37 human warships, each capable of erasing a moon from existence, turned their attention to the small research station. And waited. The command center of the research station was silent as the human delegation stepped through the airlock. They wore simple dark uniforms with minimal decoration, yet somehow appeared more commanding than the elaborately dressed regal officials. Unconditional surrender accepted, stated the human admiral, a tall female with gray-streaked hair pulled back tightly. Her voice was calm, showing neither triumph nor anger. Your cooperation is appreciated. Director Tajo and his staff stood rigidly, expecting the worst. The historical archives contain numerous accounts of species who had crossed humans and subsequently vanished from galactic records. Even the mighty Scaran Empire had fallen to human retribution. Yet instead of execution, the humans efficiently secured the Indomitable Asterisk with specialized towing equipment. They copied all research data, then systematically erased it from regal databases. Their terms for withdrawal were surprisingly reasonable. A non-interference zone around the original location and a formal acknowledgement of human memorial sites as sovereign territory. No reparations, no punitive measures, no technological confiscation beyond the data directly related to the Indomitable Asterisk. As the human teams worked, junior researcher Mina observed them carefully. Unlike her colleagues who avoided eye contact with the intimidating visitors, she studied their procedures with open curiosity. You have questions, said a voice behind her. Mina turned to find the human admiral watching her. Many. Admiral. Park, supplied the human. Admiral Jin Park. Mina bowed respectfully. Our historical records suggested a different outcome to this confrontation. Admiral Park's expression softened slightly. History is written by those who survive to tell it. Not all stories about us are accurate. 2 days later, Mina received an unexpected message. She had been invited aboard the human flagship, an honor never extended to any non-human before. Despite warnings from her colleagues about human unpredictability, she accepted immediately. The human vessel dwarfed even their largest science ships. Its corridors were wide and brightly lit, with none of the utilitarian starkness Mina had expected from a warship. Crew members nodded politely as Admiral Park led her through the ship. You seem to understand what your leaders missed, explained Admiral Park as they walked. The Indomitable Asterisk is not merely a ship. It represents a philosophy. They entered a vast chamber at the center of the vessel. The ceiling arched high overhead, supported by columns engraved with names. The walls held images of ships and battles, some so ancient they appeared to be painted by hand. Every human ship carries the names of those who sacrificed themselves for others, Park said, gesturing to the columns. But this chamber honors the crew of the Indomitable Asterisk specifically. Mina approached a large display showing a small ship positioned between a planet and an attacking fleet. The colony of New Haven, explained Park. 300,000 civilians, mostly children and elders. The Indomitable Asterisk was the only military vessel in range when the Scaran fleet attacked. A single ship against 20, murmured Mina, recalling the battle records. Park nodded. The Indomitable's asterisk crew held position against overwhelming odds so civilian transports could escape. They knew they wouldn't survive, but they fought anyway. Your historical records showed the Scarans were destroyed shortly after, said Mina carefully. Yes, replied Park without elaboration. Mina considered this as they continued their tour. The human ship contained technology beyond even what they had glimpsed in the Indomitable *. Weapon systems that defied known physics. Engines that could bend space itself. "But your military technology, it's centuries beyond necessity," said Mina finally. The Indomitable * was already considered obsolete when it fought its final battle, yet it was more advanced than our modern vessels. Admiral Park nodded. "Precisely. We build overwhelming force not because we wish to use it, but to ensure we rarely must. The Indomitable * teaches us the cost of warfare. Our fleet ensures others understand that cost before considering conflict with humanity." They stopped at a viewing port. Outside, tugs were carefully moving the Indomitable * into a special docking bay. "What will happen to it now?" asked Mina. "It will be returned to its post after repairs and restoration," replied Park. "It has stood watch for over a century. It will continue to do so." Mina was puzzled. "But now that we know of its existence, what purpose does it serve?" Park looked at her carefully. "What have you learned from this encounter, researcher Mina?" Mina considered the question seriously. "That humans value their history. That you honor your dead. That your technological capabilities far exceed what you normally display. And that you are dangerous when provoked," she admitted. Park smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Then the Indomitable * will have served its purpose, even with you." 1 week later, Mina stood alongside human and regal officers in a solemn ceremony. The research station had been largely empty since the confrontation, with most personnel reassigned after the embarrassing diplomatic incident. Only Mina and a few others remained to witness the Indomitable's * departure. The ancient battleship had been restored to pristine condition. Its hull gleamed in the light of the local star as tug vessels prepared it for its journey home. "We maintain memorial ships throughout the galaxy," Admiral Park told her quietly as they watched. "Each tells the same story to those who find them. Humans will sacrifice everything for those they protect, and they never forget those sacrifices." The ceremony concluded with a strange human ritual. 7 small vessels flew in formation over the Indomitable *, then released clouds of tiny lights that slowly descended upon the ship like glowing snow. "For the fallen," explained Park, "a tradition older than spaceflight." As the ancient battleship activated its engines and disappeared into hyperspace, escorted by 2 modern vessels, Mina finally understood what her people had misinterpreted so dangerously. Human sentiment wasn't weakness as Defense Minister Kwan had claimed. Their memorials weren't simply emotional indulgences. Their care for comfort and community aboard warships wasn't inefficiency. These things were the foundation of their strength, their willingness to fight beyond reasonable hope, to sacrifice without hesitation, to remember across centuries, and to respond with overwhelming force when their values were threatened. The Indomitable * had indeed been a warning, and the Regals had been fortunate to learn its lesson without paying the price others had paid before them. Months later, when the Regal High Council debated expanding into a newly discovered sector, Mina, now promoted to senior researcher, requested permission to speak. "Before we proceed," she said, "we should send probes to determine if any human memorial vessels stand watch there." Her suggestion was unanimously approved.